Hello everyone, welcome to yet another edition of Tarmac Talking. Today we have with us Mr. Arup Chatterjee, who is the Director Engineering and Research and Development of HAL. A very special reason we have invited him today because as all of you know that the light utility helicopter of HAL recently completed the high altitude trials at the Siachen and Himalayan glaciers. Very key milestone for that program. So Mr. Arup Chatterjee will throw some more light into that program. And thank you, sir, for coming. Congratulations on the success of the LUH trials. I'm sure the team LUH, all of you will be very elated with the current performance of the helicopter.
Thank you, Ananta. Yes, LUH has been accorded with the initial operation clearance, and we have successfully demonstrated the user evaluation on the Himalayan glaciers and the high altitude trials. From 2009 onwards, hundreds of designers, hundreds of engineers, hundreds of technicians and pilots are continuously working on this project tirelessly, relentlessly, and that is how we have reached at this stage. They are the actual ones who deserve all the credits for this performance of LUH. I would also like to thank the team of CEMILAC and DGAQA, the certifying agencies who have been supporting us throughout, and also the developing partners from the private sectors. Another small incident which I would like to share with you, Anant, that during the month of August, where we did the high altitude trials, it's a fantastic month for HAL because at that point of time, all the three helicopters which has been designed by HAL, the Advanced Light Helicopter ALH, the Light Combat Helicopter LCH, and the Light Utility Helicopter LUH have been flying together at that point of time in Leh.
Okay, that's a very special moment for all of you. Can you just summarize a little bit about the background of the project for the first time viewers, for the benefit of them?
Ananta, in the high altitude, in the Himalayan glacier region, in the north and northwest, like Ladakh and Arunachal Pradesh, those are very strategic, important place for us because of the adversaries are active over there. There is hardly any helicopter which can fly at that height, at that place. Cheetah and Chetak, which was manufactured by HAL under transfer of technology, they are doing this service with some limited capability and limited performance for the last so many years that started in 1960s. All the fleets are now aging fleets, and we are also facing a lot of problems in supporting because of the obsolescence issues, because the technology is of 1960s. So therefore, in 2004, Indian Air Force and Indian Army, they projected a requirement of around 384 helicopters for replacing the Cheetah Chetak and getting the modern helicopter. HAL started the preliminary design of LUH, and then they submitted the proposal to the Ministry of Indigenous Development of LUH. There was a lot of deliberation, and in 2008, government decided that out of 384, 197 will be in the by category and 187 will be the indigenous development. And Indian Army and Air Force, they gave us the joint staff requirement of 3-ton single engine light utility helicopter. The project got sanctioned in 2009, and since then we started developing our indigenous LUH.
In the May category.
In the May category.
So the next question is, how did this project since then evolve? As designers, engineers, the kind of challenges, you had to face?
Any R&D project, ab initio, if it is started, offers a lot of challenges, and especially in the aviation sector. And helicopter design is probably one of the most technological sophisticated task. There were challenges throughout. In fact, in LUH, what we decided that the rotor and the transmission system, we will develop ab initio. It will be our own design. In ALH and LCH, it was a TOT product. So the development of the rotor, which is a composite blade, and that is also a segmented blade, which was a very critical technology for us. and it was developed. It took around 21 iterations to finalize the blade configuration. Then there was engine. Now this engine, we initially thought that the Shakti engine, what was being used in ALH and LCH, probably can be used here, but we find that it was not meeting the requirement. So we had to go through the tendering process, and engine was developed for LUH purpose only, which took a little bit of time. There were a problem with the gearboxes, and lot of private sectors came to us and help us out. Like the gears were developed by Shanti Gears, the MGB housing was developed by Microtech, the oil cooler fan shaft, we developed it in-house. So there were challenges throughout, and all the time our aerodynamic solutions, the designers, they gave the scheme to overcome all those challenges, and everything is history now. LUH has been certified, initial operation clearance.
So, initial operation clearance, you got it at DEF Expo, right?
Yeah.
In Lucknow 2000, this year in Feb.
Yeah.
So, were there any surprises? What are the bigger, risks and challenges all that you had to face during the current trials as Himalayan glaciers?
We had completed all the tests which was required for initial operation clearance, like the ground test, the hot weather trials, the cold weather trials, the night trials, the sea level trials, the hot and high altitude trials. Based on these trials, Indian Air Force had accepted or had gave us the clearance for the initial operation clearance, and which was accorded by CEMILAC, and it was issued during the DEF Expo 2020 in presence of Honorable Raksha Mantri. But Indian Army probably felt that they would like to have the evaluation first and then give the initial operation clearance. So we promised Indian Air Force that we will do the demonstration in this hot and high altitude condition in the month of August. So when we had gone there, the challenges main challenges at that, it's one of the most stringent parameters for certification, which shows the performance of an helicopter. The reason being that pressure, the temperature, the wind speed, the visibility, everything varies throughout the day. So at that point of time, landing on a small helipad actually requires the ability of the helicopter, its hover performance, its rudder margin, and obviously the skill of the pilots. And one of the major criteria at that high altitude trial requirement is to find out what is the maximum payload capability at that altitude. Now, this means that what useful load the helicopter can carry at that altitude. Okay, so that was the biggest challenge, and LUH passed through all the tests, and it not only fulfilled the requirement, but in many cases it exceeded the user's expectation. We did our landing takeoff in Leh first when we were there, then one after another we went up to different heights of the helipads. We went to DBO, we went to Jetop, we went to Zulu, we went to Sonam, we went to Amar. Amar is the highest helipad, which is at 5.7 kilometer, around 19,000 feet. And LUH landed successfully, took off successfully, and met all the performance at that level.
So, the current trial was for the Army specifications, or there was nothing like that?
No, specification is same. They wanted a demonstration. Though based on the trials of report, Indian Air Force have gave the clearance, but they said that they want to have the user evaluation. They wanted their pilots to fly at that height. Army said that they would like to do the flying before, do the evaluation before, then they will give the IOC. So I am very sure that after this trials, probably Army, there won't be any hurdle for Army to give the.
So this time it was the Army pilots who flew?
Both. It was both the armed forces, Indian Air Force pilots and Indian Army pilots, both of them has flown it. HAL's test pilots did incredible job in this certification and were flying along with the user pilots.
How many prototypes were there flying?
There in this August test, there was only one prototype 3. We have produced 3 prototypes. The first prototype flew in September 2016. Second prototype was in May 2017, and the third prototype was flown on 7 December 2018. We also have another ground test vehicle, which is basically an helicopter, but it is clamped on the ground for doing all the testing. Now, all these 3 helicopters together has flown around 600 hours, and we have completed all the test, as I said.
How do you take this helicopter from here to, do they fly, or it is taken in from Bangalore to?
Except for this hot and high altitude trial, we did it twice. We did it last year also, where we recorded all our trial data. And this was a demonstration. Usually till now, we have been taking LUH with the help of C-17 aircraft comes, the whole helicopter as well as the crew goes in and goes out. But for your information, during last year hot and high altitude trial, the aircraft flew straight from Bangalore with different stops in between to Leh. And that was one of the, it proves how our helicopter performance is.
So this was last time, but this time it went in
C-17.
Okay, all right. So can we now, with all these accomplishments of this helicopter, can we just now say that LUH has been military certified?
100% Anand. LUH has been accorded military certification by CEMILAC, which is the Center for Military Airworthiness and Certification, for its basic version, that is IOC.
Okay.
For Indian Air Force, because Indian Air Force gave the clearance. And for Army also, because after this usual trial, I am quite sure that we will be getting the IOC for Army soon.
Then later on the FOC and the final.
There's nothing FOC actually. There was a basic version, and then we have to prove the role equipment.
Achha, okay.
Okay, right now it is the basic version. The troops can be carried, everything. But after that, we had around 18 or 19 role equipments which has to be fitted, developed and fitted on the helicopter and to be certified. That includes rescue hoids, emergency floats, cargo hooks, all those we have to do that. So that we are carrying on with that development.
So with now that you're saying it's military certified, the next the task is the production. So what are the production plans?
Actually, this certification which has been given by CEMILAC, it paves way for the production. We have been requesting Army and Indian Air Force to initiate the process of getting the AON, that is acceptance of necessity, which has to be, they have to get it. The problem is that getting the acceptance of necessity, then they have to issue the RFP. We have to submit the proposal. There will be technical evaluation, there will be commercial evaluation, there will be price negotiation, and then final order placement. This is a process which is going to take 2 years. Okay, so we have been asking Army and Air Force to initiate the process. They said that they promised that after the user evaluation trial in Leh, they will be initiating this process. I'm quite sure they will be doing that. And the faster they do it, the earliest they will be getting this beautiful, modern, state-of-the-art helicopter.
So just basically again, just to recap, what are the basic roles of LUH for armed forces?
It is the same as it was for Cheetah Chetak, more or less. Basic role is reconnaissance and surveillance. It also does the rescue operation, search and rescue operation, the casualty evacuation, training, this photography, aerial photography, etc.
Atmanirbhar Bharat mission, Make in India campaign, all that brings a lot of focus to the Desi supply management system, the private sector, all that. With this program, LUH now advancing at a rapid pace, what kind of support from the private sector is there now, and what kind of support can we expect in the future? Because private sector need to play a big role to speeden up many of the programs in research and development and production. So, can you just throw some light on it?
Now, if I will just name a few of those our private developing partners. The glass cockpit system, which was there in ALH and LCH, which was supplied by a company from Israel, we took the decision that it will be indigenized. And this smart cockpit display has been indigenized and developed by Mrs. Data Patterns. Okay. The lighted panels has been developed by Mrs. Prudent Communication, Bangalore. The standby displays are developed by Mrs. SLN Technologies. Then the control panel has been developed by Datasol. So this
So many companies.
So many companies. The lubricating pumps has been developed by aerospace engineers. So I will tell you a small story related to this. In the last year, in January 2019, there was cold weather trials, and this cold weather trials was happening in Leh, and one of the requirement was that the helicopter has to fly from Leh, height of 17,100 feet. There it will be landing there, and we have to leave the helicopter there for 24 hours. And the crew and all the team members came back, or the pilots, all came back to Leh. It was supposed to be soaked there for 24 hours. That was the positive. Then it has to start. What happened? The second day, the weather was so bad, the team could not reach. So instead of 24 hours, the whole helicopter got soaked for 48 hours. On the third day, the team went there and everybody was tensed that whether the helicopter is going to start, and if it doesn't start, what is to be done there. And Anand, it started with the first shot.
I remember writing about it.
And the thing is, it proves the capability of HAL designers as well as the designers from the private sectors who have developed all this cockpit display system. Everything was working dot, perfect.
So what is the percentage of indigenization in this?
I said it's around 65% indigenization, and during the time of development itself, for the structures we have outsourced lot many components, and that percentage is certainly going to further increase for the private sectors when the production starts. And also I would like to tell you that HAL has already procured or acquired 610 acres of land at Tumkur for the production facility for LUH, and all the infrastructure is being built up over there. So the moment we get the order, we can start the production, and probably in the initial stages around 30 to 40 helicopters we can give per year. And if the requirement is there, we can ramp up to 50 to 60.
The infrastructure has come up already?
It is already coming up. There are different stages because every activity will be done there itself for LUH.
So that brings the next question is on LUH Camo, similar purpose, competitors, so what is that, your take on?
As I said before, that government decided that 1 out of 384, 197 will be by category and 187 will be indigenously developed. That 197 by category, in 2015, there was intergovernmental agreement with Russia that the Camo will be produced and manufactured in India. It will be done through a joint venture. The joint venture was formed in 2017 with HAL having 50.5% share in that joint venture. 42% is the Russian helicopters who are the manufacturer of Camo, and 7.5% is Rosoboron. So the joint venture have already submitted the proposal to the ministry. It is under evaluation. Camo is a different technology. It doesn't have tail rotor. There are 2 contra-rotating rotors which is there in the top. It's a complex technology. Hardly few companies in the world are using this. But being Director Engineering R&D of HAL, my heart will always be with LUH because it is indigenously designed and developed. Camo VS has got some advantage, like it's a twin engine. So if one engine fails, another engine is there. LUH is a single engine. But if you talk of the performance capability, LUH beats Camo in many areas. The maximum speed, the maximum cruise speed, range, endurance, LUH is slightly better on this. Now, the second important point is that being an indigenously designed and developed project, LUH can beat any foreign OEM because the support it can give to the armed forces, the logistic support, the continuous updation, the modification, the problem solving, the catering to the obsolescence. All this will be requiring a lot of money if there is a foreign OEM is there, which HAL can support it very well.
All right. A lot has been said and written about HAL, the Naval Utility Helicopter Program and HAL's non-participation or all that. So you being at the helm of affairs of the helicopter program in HAL, what has been that experience? So things are still like that, or
You are talking of NUH. HL is continuously stating everywhere, wherever possible, that the modified ALH is best suited for NUH program. Why I am saying modified ALH? ALH at present, when we fold the 4 blades, the distance, maximum distance is 5.5 meter, whereas the requirement of NUH is 3.5 meter because of their storage condition in the sheets. Now, if we make it a segmented blade, as I said, we have done it in LUH. If we make it a segmented blade configuration, we will be able to meet the 3.5 meter requirement. This segmented blade technology has been proven in LUH. We have proven it at the high altitudes also. It's a perfect way it's going on in LUH. Only thing we have to do, we have to develop ALH blades as per the segmented blade configuration. We have already started that project and we have invested our own funds and we are developing that blades which will meet the requirement of NUH. The next point is that there was a requirement that this folding time of the blade should be maximum 10 minutes. That is the requirement of NUH. We have successfully demonstrated to Indian Navy that the LUH blade folding can be done within 7 minutes, which is much less than that. Therefore, if the technology which is already proven, if we bring it back to ALH and make the blades in ALH, we will meet the requirement of NUH. Second point is, by the time July 22 is our target by which we will be certifying this segmented blade for ALH. I don't think that if we go with the foreign OEM, we will be able to finalize that by July 22. And if we consider the supply of 111 NUH, HL will be doing it much faster than any OEM. In fact, today, whatever contract we have with Army, we are already supplying it ahead of schedule. Second important thing is, a contract with Navy is with us, 16, where we are developing around 19 systems, new system, and we are upgrading it. It has 12 mm gun, it has EOPod, it has surveillance radar. So with this modified ALH, along with the blade thing, we will be meeting NUH in all requirements. And as I said before, that HL product can beat any OEM product if we consider the support to the armed forces. Again, I am repeating, any modification what we have to do, any upgradation we have to do in the future, catering the obsolescence, the weapon integration, any weapon in the world we can integrate. HL has the capability to integrate. All this thing, if it has to be done through a foreign OEM, there will be lot of huge drain of money. There's a large sum of money which will be drained out, and that in foreign currency.
All right. So let's get back the focus to LUH. And is there a possibility for a civil version of LUH?
Ananta, we have done an extensive study in last 1 year on this, on the market survey as well as the technical requirement. If I go on to the market segment, more than 260 helicopters are required. We have seen that in the next 10 to 15 years. And LUH is the best product which can come out as a civil helicopter against that Atmanirbhar Abhiyan program. Yeah. On the technical side, civil certification requires a lot of more qualification test. All the all the LRUs of LUH has to go through that, and we have to make a new helicopter. We have submitted the concept note to MOCA, Ministry of Civil Aviation, and the feasibility study report will be given and subsequently the detailed project report. The problem is we require support from government on this, because if I compare the unit price with the foreign OEM, HL can compete with them, no problem with that. But if we have to invest our own money and when we amortize it, we won't be able to compete with the foreign OEM. As in all over the world, government support is there for development of civil helicopters. We require a government support on funding of this civil LUH.
All right. So, so many helicopter programs, so much of rich experience. So, how do you see the future for HAL's helicopter program, since you have a bird's eye view, you have a command control being the head of this massive complex? The future of helicopter programs?
Right now we have some upgradation program like in ALH. Okay. Mark III, we are doing the modification or the upgradation for the Coast Guard and Navy, where 19 systems are being newly developed and being fitted, certified on that. We have ALH Mark III, that weaponized version, which we have already done, LH Mark IV,
That is Rudra.
Rudra. In that, there is a phase 2 for weaponization, where we have to put some IR jammer and all other things, the obstacle avoidance system. So that activity is going on. The ALH Mark III civil certification is going to happen next year. We are already going ahead with the project. We have a market segment for that also, and it will be civil certified by next year. That is on ALH. Now, if we see in the kitty of HAL, we have the 3-ton LUH, we have 5 to 6 ton ALH and LCH. So we thought if we target the 10 to 12 ton, 13 ton category, then all the helicopters will be in our kitty. We don't have to purchase anything from the outside. With this thing, in our view, we have gone ahead with our IMRH program, the Indian Multi-Role Helicopter program. We have already submitted the preliminary project report to the ministry. Air Force is with us. Army is with us. Air Force has informed us that they require more than 200 helicopters. Army has said that they require more than 100 helicopters. So that's a very big project, and the timeline is 8 years. And if we are able to get the support from government regarding funding, it's a huge helicopter and quite an amount of money will be required for development. If we get the support from the government, and within 8 years, if we are able to certify this project, it is going to replace the aging Mi-17 fleet of the armed forces. And the last and the most interesting segment we have just gone into is the rotary UAV. Yeah. In the rotary UAV, the 10 kg rotary UAV, we have a technological demonstration we have already completed. Now we are developing full-fledged 200 kg rotary UAV, which will be having a payload capacity of 20 to 25 kg at the high altitudes. Okay. See, there are some technical requirements of surveillance, reconnaissance and everything for the RUAV. But forgetting that, it has a major requirement. Have you ever visited any camp, army camps in 17,000 feet? Anand, have you visited?
No, I have not.
You have not. If you visit there, I have visited. You know, the requirement is for them, the whole environment is so severe at minus 30 to 40 degrees centigrade. There sometimes becomes problem to reach the basic needs, the rations, the fuel to them. This rotary UAV, if we develop it, it can from Leh, right now from 14,000 feet, they are using mules to send the rations and the fuel. If we develop this rotary UAV, which can from Leh take around 25 kg load of rations, potato, onions, fuels, and 3 times a day it can go to the army camps, drop it there and come back, I think we will be doing a great job for the nation.
Let us say if all the support and everything comes, within how much time HAL?
Rotary UAV, we are developing with our own fund. Right. We have invested our own fund in development, and another 3 years probably we will be flying the rotary UAV. Right. And Anant, we are going to do it. There's no doubt about that.
All right, so we are going to do it. There's no doubt about it. I think with that inspiring note, signing off this very crisp edition of Tarmac Talking with Mr. Arup Chatterjee, very, very passionate engineer of HAL, a great shuttle badminton player, let's wish the team HAL, especially the helicopter complex team, all the best for all the future trials and and all the future missions they have. That's it. Keep watching Tarmac Talking. Do write to me with your feedback. Thank you. Jai Hind.